Even though this case involves the son of a prominent politician in Kenya, it still remains a mystery. It has not been solved to date. Or let me put it this way. The findings of the reports that were made have never been made public. And this is the story of Fidel Castro Odinga, the son of the former Prime Minister of Kenya, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Hello everybody, thank you for clicking on this video. This is Crimes Stories Hub with Evelyn Mora. Fidel Castro Amolo Odinga was born to loving parents Ida Odinga and Raila Odinga. He was born on 2nd of November 1973. He was the firstborn of 4 children. They were 2 boys and 2 girls. He being the firstborn, the parents were really proud and really happy to have this new bundle of joy. Fidel went to very good schools in this country. For his primary school, he went to Consolata Primary School, which is located in the leafy suburbs of Westlands, Nairobi. For his secondary school, he went to Mbeji Secondary School. He then left for India for his university studies. But he never completed his studies in India. He came back to Kenya. He then later went to America, where he attended Prairie View A&M University, which is located in Texas, and later went to Southeastern University, which is located in Washington, D.C. Fidel Odinga obviously had this pressure that comes with being a member of a high and, politically influential family. But he held this, with grace, and he tried to be as down to earth as possible. He tried to lead a normal life, just like everybody else. His degree of choice at the university was business management and marketing. His life in America, though, when he was in university was not all that rosy. He was involved in a little bit of, drama, which was caused by, I think it was his age. He was still a young man. And so he was involved in a little, marijuana here and there. And also he was involved in some theft, some petty theft, which gave him a bad record. He, however, managed to finish his education and come back to Kenya, where he now got involved with politics. He started small, on a smaller scale, but he continued slowly by slowly rising and getting popularity among the political class. Remember, at this time, he was still a young man, and so he was also, very well known in the social scene of Kenya. Among the party goers, amongst people who are involved in any kinds of social events. He was always there. He was a force to reckon with. He was a name that was recognizable. He was a face that many people saw and loved. As days went by, his passion for entrepreneurship began to show. And he decided to leverage his business studies here in Kenya. He also used the connections of his family to get into the energy sector, and he started doing very well for himself. Odinga was unstoppable. So Odinga started his own business in real estate, the service industry, and the petroleum sector. He had everything going for him. He also now dipped his feet deeper into politics. Young Odinga acted as his father's wingman in the constituency of Kibera, which was his father's constituency. And he was known for somebody who was a philanthropist, somebody who was always out there to help the needy. And he was loved by all and sundry. Odinga was making a name for himself, a big name for that matter. On 17th of March 2007, Odinga tied the knot with Veronica Ng'ang'a in his father's home in Bondo. This marked the beginning of his married life. This marriage was, however, short-lived. as a year later, the marriage was dissolved. There were speculations that this marriage was born out of convenience because of the elections. Well, there is no evidence of that. And so Fidel Odinga became, single once again. Then later, he got married to Loyam Bekele. But there were speculations that, the marriage to Loyam Bekele was too soon. And so people are speculating that he probably was involved with Loyam while still married to Veronica. Those are just speculations again. And so this marked the beginning of his second marriage. Remember, his marriage to Veronica Ng'ang'a lasted for 4 years. It was dissolved in 2011. People also speculated that their lack of children is another cause of why the marriage was dissolved. And at this point, Loyam came into the picture. Fidel made quite a number of headlines because of his love for the social scene and, fast cars and his love for women. Oh, yes. He was fined 30,000 shillings, which is $345 at the time, because of being arrested for drunk driving. He was also involved in a number of controversies that were out there on the media. But on this fateful day, on this Sunday of 2015, this was a turning point. This was different. This was the beginning of the end. The actual date was 4th January of 2015. So on the 3rd of January 2015, young Odinga left his home in an upbeat mode. He left his home in the upmarket area of Karen. He lived at the Bel Air Homes. So he left on this Saturday afternoon to go to his parents' house. He wanted to have lunch with them. He had gone to meet his family to wish them a happy new year because they had not been together since the year began 2 days ago. They spent quality time together. They had this sumptuous meal together. And then he excused himself to leave. His next destination was Ruby Restaurant in Kilimani area. There, he was meeting with some high-profile people as well. He was meeting with Cyrus Jirongo and the Court General Secretary Francis Atwoli. He then excused himself and went to meet somebody who is undisclosed up to date. His next destination at 4 p.m. was the Art Cafe. Here, he was meeting with Robert Gishuru. This is the son of the former Kenya Power Managing Director. He then visited the exclusive Capital Club East Africa, where he chilled and had a good time with his friends as well. He seemed to be having a very eventful day up to this point. And at 11 p.m. in the night, he received a call. This call was to invite him to go have a drink with some of his friends at Sankara Hotel. And amongst the friends that he was hanging out with on that night was the son of the South Sudan president, Mabior Garang. Mabior Garang has had enough of controversy on his name. He has been involved in allegations stemming from substance abuse to alcohol abuse. And this is one of the controversies that later arose after Fidel's death, because it was a mysterious death, and so people tried to make sense out of it, like what happened. And when people found out that he was actually in the presence of Mabior Garang at some point in the night, then speculations ran wild. So Fidel Odinga partied with his friends up to the wee hours of the morning of 4th January 2015. Even though Fidel was drunk, he still had some sense not to involve himself in drunk driving. He actually called 2 cabs. One of the cab drivers drove his Range Rover, while he sat in the other cab to be driven home. On arrival at his home at 4 a.m., he was ushered in by his house help. He later told the house help that he wanted to spend the night in the guest room and he will not be going to his own bedroom where his wife and son lie because he did not want to go and disturb them. Of course, it made sense to the house girl because this man was drunk, and it seems as though he was just being a nice husband. He did not want to disturb his wife in the wee hours of the morning. At around 6:30 a.m., his wife Loyam decided to go and check on him in the guest room. When she went there, she found the worst. Her husband was not moving. Her husband was unresponsive. So she, in a panic mode, decided to call her sister-in-law, who is Fidel's sister. Now at this point, she was fear-stricken, panic-stricken. She did not know what to do. However, people asked at this particular point why she did not think of calling an ambulance. So Loyam's sister-in-law, who is Fidel's sister, called her mother, who is Loyam's mother-in-law and who is Fidel's mother. And as a mother, she swung into action. She quickly drove to Fidel's house, only to find her son unresponsive. They called an ambulance, and by the time the ambulance arrived, they pronounced him dead. And at this point, everything went blank. People were not believing it. News started spreading all over the country. There was breaking news. Fidel Castro Odinga, the son of Raila Amolo Odinga, has just passed on. People were speculating. People were wondering what happened. His friends and the people who had met him the previous day wondered what had happened because they were with him and he was alive, looking healthy and upbeat. What had gone wrong? An investigation had to be carried out about this one. The parents were with their son just a few hours ago, having lunch. This was barely 24 hours. Everybody was shocked. Nothing can prepare anybody for this kind of news, especially if the person was not sick. Raila could be seen consoling his wife Ida. And at this particular time, people started to stream into the home, particularly politicians who were on Raila Odinga's party. Everybody had come to console with the family. People were coming to find out what really happened. Is it really true? It was indeed a sad moment for this family. These leaders called for speedy investigations into the matter because it was seemingly coming out as foul play. Nobody could understand how a healthy young man who was upbeat, who was not sick, nothing was wrong with him a couple of hours ago, would just not wake up from his sleep. Everybody was calling out for investigations, especially on the people whom he had interacted with the previous day and part of the night. And it should be noted that around this time, there were other deaths of prominent figures in the country that had occurred, like Mutula Kilonzo, Otieno Kajwang, and so spirits were heightened. People were thinking that this was a political ploy. This was a political thing. And so politicians on Raila Amolo Odinga's camp were actually taking the director of criminal investigations to task. They were telling him, you have to do something about this. You have got to turn every stone. No stone should be left unturned in this matter. Kenyans expect a clear and comprehensive report about this issue. Police swung into action. They started tracking his last movements. They started conducting interviews with every person that he had been involved with the previous day, up to the point where he left and came back home. They even contacted the taxi drivers who brought him home together with his car. They wanted to find out exactly what had happened. On 6th January 2015, an autopsy was conducted on Fidel's body. They had to piece together what exactly had happened to this young man. It was conducted by the government pathologist 𝐒𝐈𝐍𝐻 together with Dorothy Njeru. This autopsy, however, did not come out with conclusive results. And so this meant that they had to go on and do more comprehensive tests on his body. It should also be noted that 2 other private pathologists were involved together with witnesses from Raila Amolo's side as the autopsy was being conducted. Consequently, the pathologists collected 19 samples to be tested further. They were to be done histology and toxicology. This was to be done in both the government chemist and also in a private lab in Nairobi. The family also sent some of the samples to Germany for testing. They wanted to make sure that if the 2 labs in Kenya cannot find anything, at least something can be found in the more very prestigious labs in Germany. It was said that it will take about 6 weeks for these reports to be concluded. However, even after 6 weeks, no report was given to the public. So people started to raise questions. What really happened? Because some sort of report and conclusions must have been made following all these tests and all this analysis. Why isn't the public being told what is going on? Could it be that whatever happened is something that the family would not want to share with the public? Something that they really don't think was necessary to share with the world? Something that was not good? People kept asking these questions. And the main question was, why do all these tests only to keep the records away from the public? But then again, guys, this is their family. They have a right to choose what to do. So people let go and said, let it be what it is. So 2 theories emerged from the public about what the reports could be. One of the theories was that he was poisoned. But then again, this theory seemed far-fetched, because why would the family hide? Why would the family not disclose the report findings if at all it was poisoning? Because we saw in the case of former Juja MP George Thuo, when he was poisoned in the bar and these tests were carried out, the public was actually informed of the report, and consequently the people who he was with in that bar that night were actually arrested. But in this case, nobody was arrested amongst the people that Fidel was with the previous day and the previous night. So that sort of cancels out that theory of poisoning. Another theory was that he had overdosed on some substance, and so this is what actually caused his demise. Of course, this theory has not been substantiated, so it still remains an allegation. So up to now, nobody knows what really killed Fidel Castro Odhiambo Odinga, the firstborn son of the former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Amolo Odinga. Now, sadly, after his death, the family was involved in wrangles over his property. His wife, Loyam Bekele, his mother, Ida Odinga, and his sister were involved in a very fierce tussle. Accusations and counter-accusations ran wild. Everybody was accusing the other of something. Loyam was accusing the family of wanting to take away hers and her husband's property, while the family was accusing Loyam of refusing to accept other children who were also Fidel's children, also accusing her of keeping Fidel's son away from them. A legal battle ensued, and finally, Loyam won the case. She was given administration over her husband's properties. So kindly share your thoughts, your opinions, and your sentiments in the comments section below. And if you have not liked this video, please go ahead and give this video a massive thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel, because we are bringing you more of this kind of stories. So let us meet in the next video. Bye bye for now.